Um, yeah, welcome back. In the last session, we have seen the while loop. So in this session, we're gonna see the for loop. Let's start with it. So this if statement is okay. Yeah, for loop. For loop basically it is used for iterating over a sequence. So in which sequence? So it might be a list, it might be a tuple, it might be a dictionary or a set or a string. So if we had to iterate through those elements, we can make use of for loop. And this is like a for keyword in the other programming languages and works more like an iterator here. So in the other programming languages, it works a bit differently, but when it comes to Python, it works like an iterator. The example here given is a fruit, which is a tuple, which has three elements: apple, banana, and cherry. And the for loop which iterate through each element of the fruit tuple, and it prints it. Let's see that example. Okay, let me share the screen. Okay, what I'll be doing is let me create a new file. Okay, well, in the new file, I don't know if I don't share this again, that becomes an issue. Okay, fruits. Let me use the same example, fruits, where it is a tuple, and in a tuple what happens is we have to give the elements in square bracket. So that is apple and banana and cherry. So these are the three element fruits have. So to iterate through each element, I'm using the for loop, and I need a temporary variable to store that. So for that reason, I'm using x in what it has to iterate through fruits. So this is a mandatory thing, that is colon for all the structural control structures. So after that, what I want to print that each element. So let's save that file. I'll save it as for2.py. Okay. Then let me run the program. So when we run the program, so you can see here each element which are existing in fruit is getting printed. That is apple, banana, and cherry. Okay. Okay. This was the first example we have seen in for loop. And the second example, it's not only for the list or the tuple, it also acts like a iterator in a string, because string is nothing but a character, sequence of characters. It can, iterate through each character. And the example we can see here is x in banana. For x in banana, what it does is each character it iterate through and it prints it. So let's do this even. Okay, let me take that the same program, and I'll do one thing. This for a while. Okay, I'll not use that. Doesn't matter. And if I don't use after having the list tuple in it, doesn't matter. Banana. So now what is the expected answer is the each character one by one it has to print. Okay, I'll run the program. I'll just use F5. Okay, okay, let me share that screen. Yeah, you can see here is each character has been printed. So for loop is used for list, tuple as well in the string to print each character. Okay, so this is the now yeah, looping to a string. Okay, that's all. The break statement. So with a break statement, we can stop the loop before it has looped through all the items. So we have seen it already in a while loop. So before the loop ends, we can put a break. So how? So with some condition. So here we have a tuple with 3 elements. So we are using a for loop to print one by one. If you don't want all the elements to be printed, in that case, we can mention it here with the help of if statement. If x is equal to banana, when it finds an element banana, it puts a break, and before banana, whatever the elements were there, it gets printed. Here only one element is there, only gets printed. So let's do that. Yeah. So we have that program where what I'm doing is I'll replace it with the fruits. Okay, it iterates through. Now what I want is if x is equal to banana. Okay. Okay. Wait. Okay, invalid syntax. Every time I forget this. Yeah. Apple, banana. See. Okay. It has printed and it has found because I have given the if statement after printing. After printing, I have given the if statement. So first it prints banana, then it checks whether the x has a value as banana, then it applies a break for it. Okay. Now, after break, okay, that even now without that also we can see now. Means if you don't want it to be printed, only after that. See, only apple gets printed. So the earlier program, what happened? We have put the print before the if statement. So it was printing banana, then it was applying the break. Now it has printed only the apple. In the later, the next iteration, what happened? X has a value banana, and we are checking with the if statement. We are applying the break. So that's great thing. And let's move to the next example. That is continuous statement. If you don't want that particular element to get printed, so that also we can do it here. X is equal to banana, continue. Just replace it with continue. So what happens is, except banana, other elements gets printed. Yeah, apple and cherry, those two elements get printed. Okay. Range function. Yeah, it's very, it's very helpful in fact. To loop through a set of code a specified number of times, we use a range function. By default, range it starts from 0, and each time it increments by 1 by default without mentioning anything. If you take a C programming language, what we do is, in a for loop, we take an iterator, we initialize it, we provide a condition, then we increment or decrement it. So these are the three parameters basically for loop has. According to that, it iterates through until the condition fails. It will be iterating and it will be executing the statements which is enclosed in it. But when it comes to for loop here, it works in a different way. And to do all such things, we have a range function which can be used along with for loop. So by default, it starts from 0. So no need to initialize if at all, if you want it to starts from 0. And it every time it increments by 1. So you need not have a separate increment operator to increment, right? So it increments till the specified number. Just we need to specify where it has to put a break. So until that, it will be increasing. So here we can see an example for x in range 6. It means it starts from 0 and 0 to 6. The values will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once when it finds the value 6, it comes out of the loop. So if you take the same example, let me take the same example, that is for x in range 6. So what I want is, I want to print till that. Okay, save it. Yeah, see, the result is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till 6. So see, I have not given any, I have not initialized it. I've just used a range function. Nothing, range. It starts from 0. As we can see here, it starts from 0, and every time it increments by 1. And only the condition which I have given is it has to increment only till 6. So when it becomes 6, it comes out of the loop. That's it. Okay. So the range function by default it starts from 0. So if at all, if you want to mention from which number it has to start, it can be provided here like this. It can start from 0 2 and it ends by 6. So here you can mention it like this, 2 comma 6. So if you do it in that way, you can see it's starting from 2, 3, 4, 5. When it is becoming 6, it comes out of the loop. So it has one more parameter in it. That is, you can provide the sequence, increment sequence also we can provide. By default, it increments by 1. If at all, if we want to provide the sequence, how we want it to be incremented, whether by 1 or 2 or 3. So that can be specified as a third parameter in the range function. So let's say it in our example. So let me increase this value to 30 and I want it to be incremented by 2 every time. So how the answer will be 2, 4, 6 till 30. I mean till 29. Yeah, you can see here 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. So next increment will be 30, and 30 which is the range. So it cannot print. So that way it is providing the result. And again we have a else statement for the for loop. Once it finishes that iteration, if anything has to be printed, it can be done with the help of else. So here uh, else print till 30. Let's say take the same example. See, it prints everything till 28, and it's printing the statement which is in the else, that is till 30. Then nested loop, for loop within a for loop. So a nested loop which is inside the one loop in a loop will be executed one time for each iteration. So the outer loop, if the condition whatever it is given true, it enters inside the loop and it gets iterated, then it comes out, then again according to that the outer loop gets incremented, then with that value it iterates the inner loop, then again when that whatever the range it finishes, again it comes out and the outer loop it gets incremented, and again in that way until the outer loop that whatever the range it exceeds, till that it will be iterating. So let's take the same example, whatever is given here. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll use the fruit example which I had given earlier. Fruit, where the first element was apple, comma, banana, comma, cherry. Yeah, this is one tuple, and another one I'll take it as a ingredient. Okay, this is enough. Let me take sugar, vanilla, honey. Yeah, that's enough. Let me iterate through these things. For X in fruits, okay, inner loop I'm writing now. For Y, I'm taking the another variable Y in another tuple, that is in green. Okay, I want to pull both the values, that is the values which are present in X as well as in Y, or the combination will be the fruit and the ingredient. Apple sugar, apple honey, banana sugar, banana honey, cherry sugar, cherry honey. So in that way, it gets printed. Let's see the output. Yes, because what's happening here is X at the beginning has a value apple. So what happens? It enters the loop. While in the ingredient, the first element is sugar. So X has apple, Y has sugar, that gets printed. Again, Y it increments and Y has a value as honey. So X has apple, Y has honey. So that gets printed. So the Y increments, but it has crossed the limit. It comes out of the loop. X gets incremented to banana. So in that way, banana sugar, banana honey. Then again, it comes out of the loop. X increments to cherry, cherry sugar, cherry honey. It comes out of the loop. Range exceeds. Finally, it comes out of both the loops. So, is that clear? Yeah, might be. The past statement. So same like we have seen in the if statement. If at all, if we don't want to provide any statement for the for loop, If we leave blank, it may throw an error. But certain time we may need to use this without providing any statement. In that case, uh, a program should not have any kind of problem or error. To avoid that, we can have a pass statement. So I'll do one thing. I'll write this pass here. See what happens. Nothing gets printed. Right. If I don't write, definitely it throws an error. Right. Definitely it throws an error. So to avoid that, what I can do is I'll just write it as pass. I must use the intent properly, else no, it throws error, as we know how Python is. Yeah. So this is about pass. Okay. So in this session, what we have seen is for loop, where it is used for iterating over a sequence. It might be the list, tuple, dictionary, set, or string. And compared to other programming languages, for loop is used differently, but when it comes to Python, the for loop acts like an more like an iterator method. So the examples we have seen, just to print the tuple elements and string characters one by one, and we have put a break once when that particular element was found. They continued with the help of continuous statement. Then we have used a range function, and range basically, the compulsory parameters only we can provide. Rest two are optional. It has three parameters. One is the initial value. The second one is the range, whatever till what range we want that particular loops to execute that range. And the third parameter is the incrementing value. So those first and the last is optional. The middle range is compulsory. Compulsory we have to provide. And the where here we have given the initial value as well as the range. Here we can see the the initial value, range, and the sequence, increment sequence we have provided. And if at all, if if we want after to print something after the for loop, we can provide it with the help of else. Nested for loops in a loop. So that also we have seen example. Then the pass statement. So this is about the for loop. We will do some more. Do some more. see an example to find the, find whether the given number is odd number and print it within the range. So let's take a new file. It is to find the upper and lower limit which will be accepted from the user, and it prints all the odd numbers within the range. So just to demonstrate the follow. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the variable lower. So input, because planning to accept it from the user. Enter the lower limit. And I want it to be of type integer. So for that I'm converting it into integer because it's better to have, since I've already discussed, if at all if we don't convert it into an appropriate data type, later it may become an issue. So to avoid that, I'm here itself I'm converting it into an integer. So enter the upper limit, enter the lower limit as well as the enter the upper limit. So now what I want is I want to put it in a follow. I'm taking in I in range. I'm providing the range. What is that range? From the lower limit to upper limit. Lower. So it should start from the lower and upper. So usually basically that range, if it becomes, suppose if it is 6, it will not reach 6. It will do it only till 5. So to avoid that, what I'm doing is I'll give it as +1. Upper limit +1. Then what it has to do, I want it to check whether given number is odd or not. And we know how to find the even and odd, definitely with the help of modulus. I percentage to, if it is equal to 0, it is even. If it is not equal to 0, that is odd. So what it has to print? It has to print I. Let me save that program. So what I call it as odd.py. Okay, save. Let me run the program. Oh, why? Oh, every time I'm forgetting this column. Okay, invalid syntax. Why? Oh, there is no equals at all. Yeah, enter the upper, enter the, okay, enter the lower limit. Okay, sorry, I have to enter. I'll enter the lower limit as 1 to 60. Yeah, as you can see here, what's happening? It is taking the limit as 1. So 1 is also an odd number, 3 is odd number, 5, 7, 11, 13, 15. So everything is getting printed. Okay, let me take one more. Enter the lower limit as, let me take a bigger number. Yeah, as you can see, all the odd numbers between this range has been printed. So this is one of the example. And, let me do one more program. Yeah, let me do one more program uh, which prints all the integers that are not divisible by 2, either 2 or 3, and lies between the range. So let's do it. Program. Okay, as I said, it will print all the numbers in the range from, for example, 0 to 50, which are not divisible by 2 or which are not divisible by 3. So it's very simple. For I, okay, for I in range. So what is the range? So I'm planning to give it as from 0 to 50. 50, okay, let me give it as 51. What's the condition? And it should not have any, which are not divisible by 2 or which are not divisible by 3. I percentage 2, which is not equal to 0, and right, if both the conditions are true, then only it prints I. If any of the conditions false, it again increments. So to avoid that, we are using AND here because we don't want both the elements which are divisible 2 or 3 to be printed. I percentage not equal to 0. Yeah, if not, then print. Yeah, let me run the program. Okay, invalid syntax. Oh, what's happening with me? Why I'm forgetting this every time. Invalid syntax. Where is 3? Where is my 3? Yeah. Oh my god. I have made it. It should come after that. What happened? Nothing has printed. Why? Let me get through the program. So what it is telling, for I in range 0 to 51, if I percentage 2 not equal to 0 and I percentage 3 not equal to 0, then print. It's not printing. No, it is not possible. This is the correct one. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm using UI. I'm doing it with on and I'm trying to print because it prints in that case. Yeah, that case it is printing. So this is it's all for the session. Thank you.